Listen, if you've been following me for any amount of time, then you would know for the past few months that I have been saying that the Palestine movement was showing signs and symptoms of being anti-black. When I saw how the watermelon mafia was activated on TikTok and going around to several different content creators, when are you going to talk about Palestine, trying to force larger creators to talk and speak on Palestine, to try to force people to pick a side, I knew then that they were headed down the path of anti-blackness. Several times, members of the Watermelon Mafia got down into my comments saying that I don't speak on Palestine, then I must support genocide and this and that, even though I had spoken up in support of Palestinians in Gaza. I had done several videos about where I stood on that conflict. Then when we moved through that phase, the I'm not voting for genocide Joe phase started, right? The Watermelon Mafia was getting down all in the comments of political content creators like myself saying that I'm voting for Genocide Joe, calling me a genocide apologist, a genocide supporter, a Zionist lover. They called me a black supremacist, trying to antagonize me by getting down in the comments saying that they were voting uncommitted because along this same line, Rashida Tlaib started her performance. You know, getting Palestinian Americans or Muslim Americans amped up to vote uncommitted during the primary. And meanwhile, she's behind the scenes telling people how nervous and how concerned she is about Donald Trump possibly getting back into the White House because she knows how detrimental it will be to her people. But she's out in front, you know, encouraging her people to vote against their own interests. Yeah, so they were getting down in the comment section, trying to antagonize, get underneath my skin about voting uncommitted, and they would never vote for Genocide Joe, and saying to me, you're black, how can you support genocide? And along the way, I repeatedly made it clear that I use my platform to support black people and the black community. I will never elevate another community's issues above that of black people and the black community. I empathized with Palestinians and what was happening over in Gaza. I lended my voice in support of Palestinians. I did all of that, but my eye stayed on the prize, and that was to make sure that black people remained educated on all of the goings-on that was happening in this country politically. And how insulting to say to a black person that they are a supporter of genocide. How insulting and demeaning and disrespectful that is. The black community has been having to deal with white supremacy and racism for hundreds of years. Since black people stepped foot on American soil, they have been dealing with the extinction of black people. Hell, from the time they loaded on those ships, that's when the genocide started. Thousands of black people were lost just trying to come from Africa to the Americas. The Middle Passage, slavery, Reconstruction, the Jim Crow era. Genocide for black people has continuously been reinventing itself for hundreds of years, from the slave patrol to the police departments that we know today. For months, I've been telling people that that movement was anti-black, and now people are really starting to see it. Thanks to this interaction right here. Yeah, you see, this woman basically said on her platform, knowing that black people will see it, that if you're voting for Kamala Harris, then keep Palestinian names out of your fucking mouths. And this gentleman responded, simply trying to say that Palestinians aren't the only ones that are dealing with genocide. He is from Congo. His people are also dealing with genocide. People over in the Sudan are also dealing with genocide. And black people in America are also dealing with genocide. And he goes on to give an example as to why he will be voting for Kamala Harris. And she got back up on her platform and said, basically, this was her whole energy that she was bringing. Very anti-black. Basically saying, yeah, he's telling me he's voting for Kamala Harris. I don't even want to hear what he has to say. Right? And so she blocked him. And then she unblocked him to hear what he had to say. And then listening to what he had to say, she went out on a mission to prove him wrong. Right? Yeah. The facts that she presented are questionable. There are people out there that are debunking the information that she brought. But her whole energy was, let me let you know what the facts are, you dumb Negro, since you can't go out and do a simple Google search and get the simple facts to prove your point. And then she brought up Genocide Olympics or Oppression Olympics. Baby, nobody holds the gold more than black people. And you bringing that up is basically saying, yeah, I don't want to hear about what it is that you're going through. I don't care. I only care about what my people are going through. Why? Because we're superior to you. But let's be clear. She's not the only one that's displaying this anti-blackness towards black people who are choosing to fight for their rights here in this country by voting for Kamala Harris. She's not the only one. And so there's a bunch of people who are using their platforms to basically attack black people by trying to shame them for being a part of the voting process. Because why, black people? Your genocide of your community is not more important than our genocide, even though for months you have been elevating what has been happening to her people. Yeah, how dare you stop focusing on what's happening to my people to focus on trying to save your own people. Yeah, I am so happy that these people who are propping up on their platforms with their entitlement, with their privilege, who are showing their anti-blackness on full display, I am happy about it, because now my black people can focus on what's happening within our own community. So, with all of that said, I'm going to do exactly what Miss Greenshirt told us to do. I'm going to keep Palestinians' names out of my fucking mouth. I am going to take down all of the videos that I did in support of Palestinians. And I've already redirected the funds that I was sending in support of Palestinians. Yeah. And I will be voting for Kamala Harris in November.